Hello everyone, my name is Bardock, and today, as a follow-up to our theory and lore crafting video that we released last week, I'm going to be publishing a part 2 that focuses specifically on monsters. Here today I've got a friend with me to help bounce ideas off of, and he's going to suggest new things. He is new to the Monster Hunter series, so he's going to be more beneficial to me in that he's going to be able to help think of new monsters or rehash old ones that I suggest. So that'll, be a good time. The focus of today's TED Talk, essentially, is new biomes, new monsters, and possible new moves that those new monsters might possess. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. The background footage is just going to be us doing a couple of the event quests and stuff like that. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. And other than that, I hope you enjoy.
Okay.
That was almost perfect timing-wise.
Okay. Oh.
Hello. So, you were thinking earlier about a new Odo-style monster. Tell me more about that.
Oh, a new Odo style monster. God. Huh. Let me think.
Your big wolfy boyo.
I'd assume it'd be in the same style as the Odo, with an extra claw, though it had just adapted to the cold climates by growing a fur coat. While the normal Odo, from what I could tell or assume, had developed thick skin to deal with all of the toxins.
I gotcha.
Or at least it looks that way.
Oh, he's asleep.
I am, in fact, a hammer with the sleep.
Respectable. Alright, other than that, I think in the first video we talked about there being like a entry-level monster, like a deer maybe, or a moose style thing.
Yeah.
Other than that, we've got two of the possible, like, maybe 15 to 20 new monsters, so we gotta come up with quite a few. But I guess we can start with returning monsters. So we have Nargacuga confirmed.
Okay.
And from that, they're adding a whole new skeleton to the game. So I'm thinking that they're going to add a new monster that uses that same skeleton as Nargacuga. So it's going to be a small, vast, sort of winged wyvern, you know what I mean? It's a pod for the little boyo.
Yeah. See that.
They already have a monster similar to that. It's called a Barioth. It looks like a saber-toothed little dragon. No, Baby Jaggers is dead. I've failed. But other than that, hello.
Yeah, sorry.
So you know what the Managarmr is in Ark, right?
The Managarmr.
Mm-hmm.
Let me double check to make sure I have a good idea.
Yeah.
Managarmr.
So basically, that's the skeleton they're gonna add. It's really similar to that. It's like a four-legged.
Oh yes, the Ice Drake.
Yeah, the Ice Drake. I'm thinking they're going to add something new like that, using that same style of skeleton, where they have like the expandable wings on their forearms, kind of. So something similar to that, I think, is what they're going to also add.
That would be very nice.
But that's basically the same structure as Nargacuga. It's like kind of quadrupedal, has wings on the front claws, can glide or sort of fly a set distance. Because it needs to make sense that these new monsters were able to make it across an ocean to this new island as well.
Let's see here. The Nargacuga is just a wyvern, right?
Yeah. I think he's a different kind of wyvern. Because, like, a wyvern is 2 wings and 2 legs.
Yeah. Here, I can double check. Nargacuga. It looks like its species is set as a flying wyvern.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a flying wyvern. So there's several
Yeah.
monsters that use that same skeleton, even if they like remove the wings. You've got the Barioth, which is kind of like the Managarmr already, but imagine like a saber tooth version of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's there's several different versions of Narga. There's the green Narga, the silver one Narga. There's also the Tigrex and all of its different variations.
Mm-hmm.
And Tigrex has always been a fan favorite because he's just a like a raw damage brute monster that's always been in the tundra biome. So I think people are expecting him to come back as well.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm assuming as much as a nightmare Nargacuga is, people really enjoy him.
It is a really fun fight, yeah.
So I doubt they would be against
Yeah.
bringing back just a raw damage fight.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the flying wyverns that use that same model are. It's just raw damage or like just relentless attacking or there is a couple of larger elder dragon monsters that use that same skeleton. The Acantor and the Oconlos. The Acantor is basically just a giant lava dragon, except he doesn't fly. So he's like a big quadrupedal, like Odo style monster, right? Like that same shape, but he uses the skeleton for the Tigrex and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And Ucanlis is the same way, except he's ice. So it would make sense to me that they would bring in that Elder Dragon as well, but I feel like that's already relying too heavily on the new skeleton that they're going to add.
Yeah.
So that I don't know if they're going
I'd assume
to...
if the Managar, right? Oh, that's
Yeah.
what it was called for Mark.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if they brought in a monster similar to that,
Mm-hmm.
in most ways, I feel like it'd be best placed as an Elder Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could actually benefit more off of what it could do
Yeah, because
from its looks and give it more mechanics.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Especially because they're introducing an entirely new area. So I'd assume they'd be bringing in maybe one or two Elder Dragons at least.
That's what I'm hoping. I've got the quest posted again.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No big deal. I'm also thinking like there needs to be like I would like them to add a couple different skeletons to this one. Because in the past games there was like a bird skeleton, right?
Yeah.
It was like basically just a giant owl, and I think a giant like Snow White owl would be kind of cool as well.
Okay.
Like maybe he kind of like Legiana, he like sweeps his tail around or like brushes the ambient like snow and ice and stuff towards you, like kind of as an attack like that. You know what I mean?
Similar to
Kind of how Luna does with fire, but with snow. If that makes sense.
I was gonna say similar to Legiana's tail attack.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. Like how Legiana like creates ice and then throws it at you and that kind of stuff. Similar to that style of attack, but maybe instead of creating it itself, it just uses what's already on the ground. Or like something like that. Another of the older monsters that usually is in the snow biome is a giant, like, you know those monkeys that, like, hang out in hot springs and stuff?
Oh, yes.
Basically, like, a giant version of that is one of the typical monsters that's usually associated with the tundra as well. And that would add a whole other new skeleton again. So, like, it could bring out quite a few more options as far as that goes. That's 2 pods, hang on. We must capture the baby.
Hopefully the cats don't do the kill.
We got it.
Nice.
What else could we possibly have? So let's maybe talk new biomes. So like, I'm not thinking that this is just like a sheer cliff from the water up. I'm thinking there's going to be like maybe a coastal area. So it would make sense to have some sort of like amphibian style monster, you know what I mean? One that goes in the water and comes back out, or like maybe one that's like completely water based. And they could add like swimming water combat back, because they haven't had that one since Monster Hunter 3. So that would definitely be interesting to see again, seeing as the biggest complaint with that system was that you were using a 3DS.
Yeah. I can see the issue with it.
Or actually, no, that one was on the original DS, so you didn't even actually have the 3DS with a little extra
I
thumbstick.
feel like if they did bring that back, at most they would have one monster for it.
Yeah.
Just because it'd be...
There was...
as it says, most water combat tends to not be that great.
Yeah.
So it's more so a matter of them trying to implement water combat as a test to see how well they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they'd have to do to make it better.
Yeah, I gotcha. That makes sense. So
But I recall you saying there was a spider.
There is a spider. In the previous games, it was Neracilla.
Yeah.
It was basically a giant spider, and it attacked by like shooting webs at you, and it also had like a bee stinger style thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would bite you and put you to sleep, or it could bee stinger you basically and poison you.
Yeah.
But he's not really associated with the ice and stuff. He's usually in the jungle or like a cave,
Yeah.
where it makes sense that you would see a big spider.
Well, yeah. Since they've already pretty much predetermined how this entire island is set up,
Mm-hmm.
and they're adding in this new area,
Mm-hmm.
we can assume there'd probably be multiple, at least, different areas.
Multiple new biomes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
tile sets we could call
Yeah.
So if they added in a cave tile set,
Mhm.
that'd probably expand the options. They could probably add in a bat monster that they've had in the previous game, or
There actually
rework
has
it.
never been a bat monster.
So if they added in, let's say, the cave tile set, they could add in this bat monster. Maybe bring back the spider monster and give it more mechanics, since they're
They have a better
Further
engine to
along.
work with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. That would be nice. What else could we put in
And
the
then-
cave? Maybe like a giant gecko style monster in that new
Okay.
cave. Kind of like a Jagras or a Girus, like an entry level monster, but it's all about like verticality and like jumping off the walls at you or like ambushes or something.
yeah,
Wha-
that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. I got it posted again because I think you need 3 of the special ores or whatever to make the sword, and then you need 3 for the cat armor. I don't know how many you've gotten here.
I'm gonna join. Give me 1 minute. Well, you just kind of load us in.
Okay. After this, you want to work on the weeklies?
You're free to kill or start it up.
Okay. Fair enough.
I just had to go grab Doggo that was outside.
Ah, gotcha.
But what would be interesting about a Gecko style monster that you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
was they could probably add a second phase to it, or multiple phases to it.
One where
Because-
it's like popping in and out of holes or like little ambush points in the wall and then an actual fight part of it?
Oh no, not even that. I'd assume with like geckos, they tend to change colors based on their background.
Oh, camouflage stuff.
Yes.
There was an elder dragon in the past games called the Chameleos that would literally turn invisible. Like it was like predator style invisibility, but it was still it was still a thing.
That'd be interesting if they brought something similar to that back.
Yeah.
Because the main thing I'm thinking about it is there's probably a lot of monsters that they had idea-wise that they put in games where they've just put what it looks like and then it had just basic attacks because they couldn't really implement much uniqueness to them because of what they had to work with.
Yeah, because they were limited by the fact that you were playing on a DS.
Yeah. So what they probably could do is bring a decent bit of those ideas back and just kind of rework them or redesign them.
Right.
Now that they're able to make these unique.
Yeah, I got you. Another monster that is typically found in the tundra is called a Najarala. It's like it's similar to a giant cobra in appearance. But it would shoot its scales at you, right? And then it would bounce like ice or like a spitball, for lack of a better way to put it, off of those scales. And it would like literally try and geometry you to death.
Ooh.
So like you would always have to be aware of where the scales had landed. And there was actually two variations to that fight. There was the Tidal Najarala, which like I said shot spitballs at you. And you also had just the regular Najarala, who was all about like bouncing sounds at you. So he would vibrate, and it would cause his little like shell or his like scales that he'd implanted to explode. So he could like trigger. It was like he set up remote bombs basically, and he could trigger them with a roar. That would be really cool to see because he used the same skeleton as the Logia Cruise. Which they had in the world beta, or were going to put in the beta.
Yeah.
But I guess they had trouble with the neck physics, I think it was.
It'd be understandable to bring that back.
Because they had already put, and it makes sense because Logia Cruz is a water monster.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an electric eel in design, but it like primarily lives in the water or like a coastal area. So it would make sense for it to be there.
I'm assuming there's either going to be a large lake on the island itself, or it's at one spot of the island going to shift down greatly towards the water.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking earlier with like a coastal area. Doggo, please.
Yeah, no, that would make sense, especially because they were considering putting it in the beta, and they were having trouble with the skeleton. It just makes sense that they decided to leave it out and put it in this area so they could work on the skeleton more to implement more variations of monsters with its skeleton.
Yeah, I gotcha. What the armor set is, or if there is a cat armor set for the first part of this. I don't think there is actually. I think I made this snow armor. I did.
Let's see here.
So also in the past games, there's been a shark monster.
A what?
A shark. And that shark was like an amphibian style monster, so it could walk around on land and get around pretty well, and it could also swim. And part of its attacks and stuff was that it would go underground and pop up at you, kind of like Diablos does.
Okay.
But it makes a little bit more sense that he burrowed through the ice and was underwater and then came back up through the ice as opposed to sand.
Yeah.
But anyway, it would be really cool to see that style of monster brought back, but maybe make it like a different version. Because they had what was the Tiger Stripe, which was the desert variant, and then the just ice variant. I was thinking maybe they could bring that style of fight back, but maybe have it be like a hammerhead, or a different kind of shark, or maybe something like that.
I could see that happening, especially because they're hopefully, if not more than likely, going to be adding the eel in.
That would be really
Especially
cool.
since they might test water combat, I feel like.
Yeah, I
If
gotcha.
they're adding in an eel,
Yeah, that would be really nice.
it makes sense to add in the shark because with, as we said before, the upgraded technology that they now have for Monster Hunter, they could probably make the shark fight a two-phase and then have half of it be water combat.
And then you finally like force him out onto land or something, and are able to continue the fight.
Yeah,
That would be
or
really cool.
up onto the, let's say, the frozen lake.
Mm-hmm. That would be really cool to have it be more multi-staged like that. Because in the past games, it was just like, oh, he's underground. I
Yeah.
guess don't stop moving so that you can.
Because if they started to make maybe like a few more multi-staged or multi-phased fights, they could add more of a variety, if that makes sense, with the movesets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of just, oh, hey, I've learned his 5 different moves. It's, oh, he has multiple phases, and in each phase he acts differently and has a slightly different move set.
Yeah,
Or he uses specific moves more likely in this move set rather than the other one.
I got you. Oh, Dante's not actually back out.
Oh, it's whatever.
All right. So, was there any other events that you wanted to do or anything else?
Let me. I already got my sunglasses, I think. Yeah, I should already have my sunglasses. Let me double check.
If not, we can just do like tempered investigations.
Yeah, I already got my sunglasses. That. I already got the eye patch. I should probably get the rest of Kieran builds.
AT Kieran?
No, normal Kieran.
Okay.
Or, well, not normal Kieran, normal high rank Kieran.
Yeah, I gotcha.
What should I drag into this fight? What's my current?
Archer just posted a quest.
I can swap out. Okay, yeah. What did he post? What's up on this board that we're doing? Relish the moment.
Oh, tempered pickle. That one's a good one for farming streamstones to augment.
I could try it with the hammer, because I kind of want to learn how not to be garbage with the hammer, to be honest with you. So maybe I'll just bring the sleep hammer in. Sleep them. Why not?
Gotcha.
So my life is a hammer. I'm now a hammer main. It's my life.
I can respect it.
It's a nice life. Not really, but... do I need to respect him and go for health?
Possibly.
Or do I not? But I won't get. I'm not guaranteed the rider. That's the issue. Yeah. If I was guaranteed getting rider, I think I wouldn't respect him and go full health. Ooh, he's already in the quest too.
Yep. So I'm thinking also Bagel is going to make an appearance in the ice biome. Because, you know, Bagel's an asshole and can fly. So it makes sense that he would be in that biome.
Ooh, I see what the Lagiacrus?
Lagiacrus, yeah?
Yeah, Lagiacrus looks like.
Uh-huh.
I had the Nargacuga's page open on the wiki. And in the bottom right corner, it has like the Lagiacrus and stuff.
Yeah. See, that's one of the monsters that they had in the beta. They actually had it. That was the first showcase of Turf Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It was between Anjanath and Lagiacrus. Because you know how, like, in the Rathalos' nest, how you can bridge the dam or whatever?
Yeah.
Or, like, break the dam and it, like, floods out? There was actually going to be a lot more to the water aspect of it, and that was going to be where the Lagiacrus usually hung out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was going to, like, if you knocked a monster down there, they were going to turf war with the Lagiacrus because it was, like, jumping into his area, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be cool to see him back in the game. I forgot I had the Joshi mod still on.
It's fine.
It's going to be an interesting, hilarious video.
Is there a reason ever to take it off?
Nah, not really.
Ow.
be pretty close to a mount. You also have the defense debuff.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Oh, heads up. Also, when you have the Dragon Blight like that, it seals the element or status of your weapon.
Yeah. I'm just trying to heal up right now and pop a cool drink.
I gotcha.
He already broke my vitality mantle, so that's back off my back.
So what have we talked about so far? We got the wolf style monster, the deer style monster, a big, hopefully a bird style maybe.
Yeah. Possibly bringing back the spider or making a new variation of the gecko that's stealth.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
What I'm curious is if they'll make any passive monsters.
How do you mean?
Similar to like the dodo or the kumu, where it won't attack you unless you initiate.
See, that's what I was thinking. That could be like the deer monster, or something like that. He just kind of wanders around, does deer stuff or moose stuff, however you want to have him represented. And he could just be kind of there, like the Alpha Kelby or something. You know what I mean? That or the past games had different deer for the snow area. I think they were called Antikas or something. I don't remember exactly, so if I'm wrong on that, please. Oh, sleep.
Can I slide down this? I think I can.
Swing and a miss. What else could we possibly have? There was some monsters in the older games that lived in like a wetland style area, which maybe could be off of this coastal area, in between the coast and the snowy tundra area, maybe.
The reason I'm unsure about putting anything similar to like a wetlands or a swamp or any variations like that in, or at least near this area, is because it's a snow biome.
Right.
So, just off of that basis, a lot of these areas would have to be able to stay that way in colder climates.
Right. But there's another thing with the some of the lore for the Elder Dragons. They can change climate and stuff. So it would make sense that this wasn't necessarily originally a snowy biome, but something happened, like an Elder Dragon showed up, or something like that, and it changed the climate of part of the island. So maybe that would, from a lore perspective, that would make sense to have multiple, like maybe not exactly cohesive environments, but still have them be on that same part of the map.
I can see that. What do you think what else would immediately come to mind that they could put in?
I honestly don't know. Just because there's really, like, just pretty much any monster that you could find in a snow environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we could have, in the past games, they had a rabbit called a Lagombi. It was basically just a big rabbit that lived in the snow. And it attacked by, like, sliding at you and stuff. So, like, it would, like, kind of jettison itself towards you as like a bullet. Maybe they could replace that monster with like maybe a penguin, because it would make sense for a penguin to like slide at you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else. Maybe a bear? They've had bears in past games, but it was always in a forested area, and it was always kind of derpy. It was always kind of derpy looking. It's called,
Especially
I think,
if they
like
had
Azeros or something.
To like a cave biome.
Yeah. I gotcha. What I'm really excited for is if they do add like a coastal area or something like that, is more water monsters. Because there were monsters in past games that were giant fish that you basically had to fight at the edge of a big pond. So if they bring that back, where it's like you're fighting fish and all sorts of other stuff in the like at the edge of a pond, or you know, the edge of the coast or something like that, it would make a lot of sense as well. Gastodons, please. I don't really...
Why do they want this life?
I don't know.
Not... Besides that, all I can immediately think of... Oh, I'm dead. Besides me being dead. So there would be, let's say, a deer, or probably a stag.
Mm-hmm.
As the intro monster.
Yeah. And maybe like the next level up would be the wolf and the owl and the bear maybe. And then from there we get to the Managarmr looking one.
Yeah, and then possibly let's say a bat-like monster similar to the Palumu's. What is it?
I was thinking
skeleton?
more yeah, that same style of skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe more, instead of being so quadrupedal, maybe more like vertical, like a regular bat would be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like just a slight adjustment to that skeleton. And it would make sense for him to attack with sound as well. So like maybe, what is that Pokemon, Noivern, or Noibat, or whatever it is? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So maybe something similar to that in design, and it, I don't know. Same thing, like, they did have a unique status in Monster Hunter Generations for one of the monsters. It was, Confusion. And basically, it just reversed all your inputs. So your A button became your B button, your up became your down, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would make sense that he would attack with, like, have a supersonic attack, or some way of, like, causing you to be confused. And that would also bring another new mechanic into the game. And you just had to basically let it wear off and adapt to the situation.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That'd also be really interesting. I'm curious if they'd be able to incorporate something similar to like a blind monster.
Oh, if they did add the cave, like down at the bottom of the cave. Well, there already is a monster similar to that. It's called the Kezu.
Yeah.
And it's a leech style of monster. You know what I mean? It's got like a big lamprey-like mouth and no eyes, and it smells around for prey. And he's typically also associated with a tundra style biome or a cave in the tundra or something like that. So it would make sense for him to be a returning monster.
Here.
I need to sharpen real quick. Good sleep.
Oh, nice! I got to sleep.
That's two of them. Well done.
But trying to think if there's anything else that could like immediately be used in the thoughts of like a tundra or a snow biome. But there isn't that much.
Yeah.
Mostly because the tundra and snow biomes tend to be very barren because of their lack of food.
Yeah. I can agree with that. So, let's say we've maxed out on our tundra biome with our few ideas there. What other ideas for maybe a wetlands or a coastal or a cave environment could we maybe come up with?
We're going coastal. They may bring back the crab.
Oh, the Hermitar?
They may bring back the crab if we're going coastal.
Yep. The Hermitar is usually right around the edge of water and stuff.
And it makes sense if they're also bringing back the leech, or not the leech, the eel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got
to
you.
try to introduce water comp.
Mm-hmm. That would be really interesting.
Because I assume they generally are usually in the same area.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because it makes sense that if you tend to get one, the other tends to be just around.
Yeah. They also in Generations had a mammoth. He was one of the Fated Four. So there was the mammoth, there was the bubble dragon, which I think I showed you the other day, Mitsuzune.
Yes.
There was an Astalos, which was like a lightning version of Rathalos, but maybe more like buggy, if that makes sense. He looked more like he had like a carapace as opposed to scales.
Ooh. They could bring a mantis style monster to the wetlands.
That would make
I just realized they could bring the bugs as well.
Yeah, there could be a lot of different bugs that they add, which would be really nice. Because they had, in the previous games, there was a Celtis, which was like a giant, like Hercules beetle, basically. And they had the Celtis Queen, which was a big scorpion-style monster. They also, I think at the end of Generations, they had a praying mantis-style monster that was an Elder Dragon. Because it used tools and stuff to make itself like a battle robot.
I feel like they could bring the praying mantis style monster back and put it in the wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
And have it kind of the source as to why the wetlands are still functioning there. And then have a snow elder dragon like the Managarmer?
Yeah.
As the source of why the tundra biome is.
I gotcha.
And then in between these two biomes, kind of connecting them in a way, could be a series of caves.
I gotcha.
And then let's say in between said biomes is where this coastal region happens as well.
Right.
Where some of the caves end up leading out.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm more curious would be on the side of the tundra biome, or not the tundra, the wetlands biome, if they put one in and styled it like that, would it just be wetlands?
Yeah.
Because if they were going to add back, let's say, the scorpion thing, they would need a sandy or desert biome.
Right. So what we're doing is just,
unless they bring it to the current place we're at, and throw it in, what is it? I can't remember what it's called.
The Wildspire Waste?
Wildspire Waste.
Yes, if they threw it in the Wildspire Waste, but it wouldn't really make much sense to introduce a new monster to an existing biome.
I feel like they will be
context.
focusing on the current biomes.
Yeah.
Nah. I think we will see a few monsters in current biomes.
I agree, a few in current biomes, but not like a whole new Elder Dragon in current biomes.
Well, it wouldn't be an Elder Dragon, it'd be the Scorpion from previous games.
The Celtis.
Yeah.
The Celtis, okay.
Celtis and maybe Celtis Queen.
The only reason I see that possibly happening is if we saw the events leading up to the Tundra biome becoming what it is. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because I feel like they'd have to put in another Elder Dragon or two for this new area, at least.
Yeah, we will probably get at least 2 new Elder Dragons. Like, Orochi Kirin is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, it's basically Ice Kirin.
Yeah, they have the Kirin skeleton, and Orochi Kirin was, as far as we know, was planned to appear in World.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably be in Iceborne.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess you already talked about Naga and
the possible, yeah. So in Ark, there's a.
I'm pretty sure that we will see Barioth and Tigrex. Tigrex, almost sure. Barioth, likely.
I'd say Barioth more likely than Tigrex, just because of the focus on the ice part for the title.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
I'm not even that sure about that because Tigrex is used in the biomes.
In the tundra biome. Okay, so in the latest Ark expansion, there's a Managarmr, and I'm gonna put a picture of it in the Monster Hunter channel. I'm thinking they're going to have a new monster with that same Narga Tigrex skeleton that's similar to this. That's like an ice drake that shoots ice beams and stuff like that.
I just want things that aren't wyverns.
I mean, that's pretty much Barioth already. Like
it basically is, which is why it would be cool because it would be a play on Barioth, but not exactly Barioth. Another monster that we've already talked about here is a snow owl, similar to this one.
Kind of like a Malfestio.
Kind of like a Malfestio, but a snow variant of it. Again, this is a picture from Ark,
or
but...
in the waiting room.
Or is in the waiting room as well? Okay.
I'll drag him up.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So something like that would also be really cool. And maybe not like the Malfestio, but maybe more like a Legiana attacks you with ice and snow by like flinging it at you, or like maybe it could make a miniature blizzard with its wings, or something like that.
Yeah, they could do Malfestio subspecies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Once again, I think they won't add that many new skeletons. So I really think they're gonna milk the ones we have.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why.
With the new area, I'm thinking they'll add 2 or 3. Because they already had the eel one that was supposed to originally be released, but they were having issues with the neck.
Yeah, the Leviathan one where they were...
how much time they've had in between this, the PC release, and now their announcement, I feel like they probably were already working on at least 1 to 2 others while fixing that one.
But do you think
we don't know if we don't even know if they went ahead to fix it, because it might just be that they didn't focus on it, mainly because there's not that many non-water-based monsters in World, and they said they wanted to try underwater combat again. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll hold off on the Leviathans till that happens.
Well, wasn't it in the beta?
It was supposed to be.
No, it was the only place where Lagiacrus ever showed up is in the footage in the tech demo, and that was a very early prototype build.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably have a bunch of stuff that got to that stage and never released.
Mm-hmm. So they could probably bring some of that stuff back. Because, I mean, they already have some of the skeleton rigging and the HD assets for it, but, like...
The problem was with the Lagiacrus, that they couldn't get the neck to play nice with the new physics engine.
Mm-hmm.
And
but like Tox was saying, from release, they've had almost 2 years to sort that issue out. I don't know exactly
how long
what it was.
been in development, though.
Yeah, it's been in development to get to that point, so they've had 2 years to sort out just the neck issue on it.
No,
if that was the reason it wasn't being brought in.
The thing is, between that tech demo we saw and initial release, it was 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that tech demo is one of the first ones they had rigged up, as far as I know. So it's been 1.5 to 2 years from that to the full game.
Mm-hmm. So,
And
but like you were saying, 2 years seems like more than enough to fix one rigging issue that was messing with the physics engine.
it depends. They could have focused on that or just tried to put in more different skeletons without that problem.
True.
Because if the problem was the long neck, they could have just focused on putting like the Pseudo Wyvern, like Tigrex, that skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe add some new quadruped, like
We were talking about that earlier.
Emerald.
A Odo-style monster that causes bleed damage, but maybe adapted to the snow. A big wolf-style thing, if that makes sense.
I was that one could just use the Odo skeleton. I
Mhm.
was more thinking about along the lines of something similar to Gamma, maybe.
Like a big
Because-
mammoth. Mhm.
Or like a
Only
Rajang
that-
style.
Well, if they add
if they
like
add
Blinganga or that style of skeleton back, that opens up a lot of
Raja.
other. We don't need it.
No, we need it because we need new players that started in World to experience hot Rajang Dig.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
No!
We need new players to know the suffering.
I don't. I
They
mean,
need to know why we're scared of a fucking ape
that goes Super Saiyan.
that's not even 3 times the size of our player character. Except maybe when it's Gold Cup.
Well,
They
you don't
need to know the
need
fear. Yes, we need it.
it's something you want. It's not something.
I
that's
don't
something
really
you
want. I don't really want it. Like,
You,
it's a hate-love
you
relationship. with
want
Rajang.
it just to cause harm to the newer players.
What?
Yes, yes.
All I want is
And
the
to see
weapons
his armor.
designed to stop eating shit.
I mean,
That's all I really want.
they basically promised that with like the screenshot. Did you look at that? I'm pretty sure the SNS one, the
But
guy on the
I can
front.
grab 4 different weapons out of World and be like, damn, look at these weapon designs. And then 50 other weapons that are like, damn, that fucking sucks.
I mean, like, you've got, like, Odo for the Charge Blade or something. Like, that is a badass and unique weapon. But then you've got, like, several
Every
other ones where it's...
weapon.
Yeah, all the Giratotus weapons where it's just, like, the base version with a little bit of hide stuck on the end.
Yeah. I mean, I know exactly what you mean, but did you notice the live Bogan in the pic I posted?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the Toby one. Like, that's Toby stuff on that live Bogan.
Excuse me.
Hello, Warren.
So I'm pretty sure they are working on that stuff. Then again,
Super roar.
who actually watched the interview I posted?
The 6-minute long one?
Yeah, with
I watched.
Ryozo on PlayStation.
Yeah, I watched that one.
What he focused on was, I mean, one thing that made me think, okay, we're gonna get multiple monsters with the Pseudo Wyvern skeleton,
Mm-hmm.
because he alluded that that part was a hint at multiple monsters.
Mm-hmm.
At least the way they translated it. So I'm pretty sure we will be getting Tigrex.
Yeah.
Because Tigrex is just... He needs to be there. It's Tigrex is almost as iconic as freaking
Rathalos?
Rathalos.
Yeah.
So if we
Oh,
get the
sweet.
Pseudo Wyvern stuff, we will get that thing.
I'd be
Right.
okay without Tigrex. And I think they'd be okay without
Oh.
Tigrex.
Neither of you are here.
Yeah, we both carded.
Yeah, no, I just gotta sleep.
Well, if you've got bombs, go ahead.
I don't. Right in front of the nose with my back to it, right?
No, like 90 degrees to it. So, like,
Okay,
looking
well-
either left or right.
Why? Missed.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh.
Hit it.
Yeah.
There's Badman.
So what are you guys up to?
Um,
Besides theorizing.
That's pretty much the whole point. We're just hunting for background footage, and I'm recording everything that's being said so that we can have a lore and theory crafting video part 2.
Well, by any chance,
Okay.
new player who's never played the old games see any of these?
That is Tox, actually.
Yeah,
We've
if
you guys
you're-
are-
On
Oh,
yeah.
everyone else, like, I'd love to hear what new players expect from this expansions because everyone who's already played it already has some wishes and
Expectations.
thoughts and whatever, right?
Okay, I'm assuming they're going to bring back the spider monster, add in a cave area tile set.
I don't know if they'll
Possibly
necessarily bring
bring-
back Intercella.
I was in the other area, by the way.
Oh, you got lasered through the corridor.
Yes.
Ouch.
Sorry.
Valve's secret move.
As forgiveness, I can put up a 4 reward Lunastra if anyone wants that. Would you like that?
Yeah, sure.
I'm
It's
scared.
supposed to be some casual hunting, right?
Mm-hmm. Casual
Uh,
hunting.
But I'm assuming they'll
Um,
bring back a cave biome, throw in the spider from a previous game, as well as bring a new variation of the monster that turned invisible.
Like a
They make it
non-Elder
like a-
Dragon Chameleos, basically. Like maybe something that lives deep in the cave that camouflages itself. It's all
And we
about-
could also bring back make a new blind monster, or just bring back the leech. I think it was.
Kazu, yeah.
Kezu.
Please no Kazu.
No, Kezu,
No.
please.
No
Please
more
no Kazu.
thunder monsters. Fuck.
Hey,
Makes
hey,
sense.
they could just make it a bunch of bleed monsters. I'm also thinking they
No.
could bring a praying mantis. There's a lot of bugs they could bring.
Yeah, but I don't think they will add the bugs.
Because the issue is they're going with a tundra biome. There aren't many different creatures, let alone animals, that live in tundra biomes because of how scarce the food is.
Mhm.
That's the problem with the tundra biome.
Oh, I can see that.
And we pretty much
The
covered it.
thing is, the
So
Tundra
unless they
biome is
do a
monster
lot of
hunt-
water monsters, there's nothing more they can really bring besides things like stags, elks, moose, wolves.
And I want those monsters.
But that's the
I
thing,
mean-
they'd probably bring one of each.
The thing is, in Monster Hunter, that was never really that huge a problem. Like, if you look at least from Generations, and for you, the ones I played, the monsters in those biomes, they tend to be, like, there's not many passive monsters in there. Most of them are hyper-aggressive hunters. Because the food is scarce, everyone's competing for it.
Which would make sense from a ecology perspective, because they
Yeah.
want. It seems like they want world to be like a cohesive and flowing environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably
Pretty
the
damn
reason why we didn't get an ice map until later, because it just didn't fit with the existing biomes. It's just too disparate from the rest.
Right.
I
But it
think
would
at some
also-
point,
Go ahead.
as I was gonna say, I think at some point they started shooting too much for realism and not enough fun for Monster Hunter, leading to the lack of ice and water weapons.
Mm-hmm. See, it would also make sense
I-
though that there would be a new Elder Dragon in this new area, and it was just a
Oh.
normal island like this one. So it was just like it had a swamp, it had a cave set, it had a coast area, whatever, had a grasslands, and then an Elder Dragon showed up, an ice style Elder Dragon, and froze it. So it would make sense that there would be several different biomes next to each other because Elder Dragons have the ability to change the environment or cause catastrophes. Like an ice age being caused in the middle of a grasslands is totally within the scope of an Elder Dragon's abilities, according to lore.
Yeah, but that, to be fair, that will probably be more towards the end game.
Mm-hmm.
Because that'll be some Zeno, Fatalis, Amatsu shit. So, and
Bucanless?
and
But that's the thing.
Ucanlus doesn't. Ucanlus
what the
does
tiles-
not.
Yeah.
Ucanlus is not an Elder Dragon and does not cause huge disturbances apart from digging through glaciers and mountains, which is bad enough. But he doesn't. He doesn't cause ice ages or stuff.
All right, so then maybe something that controls the weather, or like has
Yeah, an
influence over the
Elatrion.
weather, a Latrion, or like a
mean,
Matsu.
Amatsu
Or-
might be like an ice version of Amatsu or something. Might do something like that. I can see that happening. Alatron is more of a because Alatron himself can't completely control his elements.
Mm-hmm.
It's he's more likely to be found in remote regions just because he's gonna be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we get him, he'll probably be in an arena style like Xeno or something like that.
Makes sense.
Like just out of the way of most things.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just is that's the only fitting thing with like his lore and theme.
Mm-hmm.
I assume they planned of having him in the Xeno area.
Yeah, that would make sense.
If that leaked list is correct for the time it was posted.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there? I mean, we're getting. What they might do is actually use the Kirin skeleton for.
That's what we were.
Like
That's what we were thinking was it would be the Kirin skeleton that gets reused as a moose or a deer or an elk or something, and have that be like the entry-level monster to this new area.
I mean, it'll probably be an elk and give us the Viking armor because it has fucking antlers on the helmet. So. Oh no, I disconnected.
I saw that.
That's not good.
You and Archer both.
Oh yeah.
Well, on the bright side, you've got a full reward Urigan to deal with. On the downside, you have a full reward Urigan that's multiplayer that you have to deal with solo.
Yeah, I'm returning from the past. Goodbye.
Personally, like as a new player who's only played World, I don't know, I think that like an ice map is the full concept, and if they had said something, they said something about like it was the size of the old games or something like that.
Well, in the older games, you would get like an ultimate version after a year or a year and a half, and that ultimate version would include G rank. It'd be the same base game,
Yes.
but it would have like another DLC basically added on top of it.
Because they couldn't do DLCs or expansions
On a 3DS game.
on the 3DS or Switch game, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or
And
I
I
guess
was-
they could kind of do it on the Switch, but
I
Yeah.
guess not.
I was thinking that like if they said that, then maybe it's just my thought. They would do it like it was an ice map, but like kind of like how our map is now on World, where there's different areas. So like
Yeah.
the majority of it has ice, but there's also a couple other like maybe like a fire biome or something like that.
Yeah, because there's really not a true volcano biome in this one, and maybe that could be part of the cave system that Tox was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you go down further and you find another lava-esque area, kind of like an Elder's Recess.
Yeah, like underground, under all the ice.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
there was one theory that was very popular some time ago, and that was because we know Zora is almost dead. He's dying of old age.
Right.
He's old, he came here to die. And we sent him out to sea. Now,
Right.
what happens if a giant elder dragon with a shit ton of power energy that produces magma dies in the sea?
Yeah, we were talking about that. He went up in chat. People and everybody was saying that Zora went off the right side of the map, where that big torn out area is. You know, like if you look at your map, there's that big area missing to the right side of the island, where there's like no paper overlaid or anything like that. We were thinking that would be maybe a future expansion, and it's just the island created by him exploding and then monsters moving in from other areas or something, but are now G rank, if that makes sense. Like they made the crossing across the ocean, they've lived in this harsh environment, they've toughened up, they're now basically G rank.
They basically all are tempered by default because they're living in basically on the corpse of an elder dragon.
Yeah, exactly. They've all gotten stronger because they're bathing in bioenergy or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I would
yeah, I
also,
can see that
like-
happening.
I don't remember which monster it was, and there was one where like in the older games,
So you would want
you
to
were
stand
up
like
high
right here, Tux.
somewhere, and there was like wind and lightning. Like I was thinking, like maybe even above the ice biome. Yes,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
You can have like a wind place or like a rainy place where it's always raining. There's always lightning.
Oh,
And like you could put wind
I'm
monsters,
used. I'm.
water monsters, stuff like
It
that.
happens.
I don't know.
Yeah, wind storm monsters. We definitely need more water monsters.
I
It's
agree.
just necessary.
Which
for
is right. Which is
Which
why I
is
was
why
thinking
it
they would
makes
bring back
sense.
like the fuck, what was it called? The Gobel, right? That was the
Shark thing?
no, he was an anglerfish.
Gobel will not return.
No,
No,
Why
pretty
not?
sure he won't.
I mean it would
Same
make sense
as
if there was a
Sel-
coastal area though, right?
No, the thing is, you have to look at it not from what would make sense as a monster, because I'm sure they would love to just jam everything they have and more in here.
Mm-hmm.
But the main problem is probably, again, the skeletons, because they keep reusing the same skeletons over and over, so I'm just assuming it might just be a really shitty time to work new monster skeletons onto this engine.
Right.
So, I'm assuming stuff with unique skeletons like Nursula, Celtus Queen, Gobel. No, Gobel and Nibblesnarf do, I guess, have the same skeleton.
Yeah. I mean neither of them are in though, so it would still be a new skeleton for this game.
And it's... Then again, it doesn't fit with the vibe from Monster Hunter so far.
Well, I mean, it would make
Like,
sense
what-
though, because as far as monsters go, they need to have been A, already living on this island by the kind of like the monsters of the New World, or B, been able to get there, and the water monsters that can swim really well make sense for them to get there.
Yeah. I mean, we could just get a bunch of new water monsters.
That's true.
And
Or they could get a Zamtrios.
I was thinking something like maybe a Zamtrios-esque monster, but maybe instead of just a normal Zamtrios, like a hammerhead version, or like, you know, some other kind of shark.
Inflate itself.
Yeah, some that doesn't inflate itself, but instead, maybe he would use his head like a bludgeon. You know what I mean? He would still coat himself in ice like a Zamtrios, but he would then go like on a smash happy frenzy or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really know. We're just
It's just all
It's
theory.
theory crafting.
just theory crafting, exactly.
No, Joe doesn't want that many old monsters, but I take old monsters over, like, an Anjanath.
Well, Anjanath isn't a bad monster. He's just a brute wyvern. I mean,
okay, did you guys talk about potential subspecies?
no, we
Unexisting
haven't even
monsters?
touched on that yet. Well, kind of, I guess we did with the owl thing or like the wolf thing for Odo, but like,
No, I was thinking about subspecies on the new monsters introduced in the world, specifically.
yeah.
Because
Well, I mean that's
might-
basically what the wolf would be, was a subspecies of Odo, or
Yeah,
some, or they had like
Yeah,
a common
but-
ancestry at least.
yeah. That would make sense, because Odo is hyper adapted to the Veil.
Right. So if
Yeah.
you had a snow biome that same original monster hyper adapted to, it would be nice and furry. It would.
Yeah, probably
Just like Park.
just a bit.
Oh no, that's not going in the video.
That's so going in.
Oh, it's
Right?
going in.
It's so going in.
Everything that's been said. I'm just gonna fully upload the
whole thing.
the whole recorded footage thing. Yeah,
Understand?
I'm gonna put the little intro outro thing at the beginning. Maybe add a couple pictures for reference throughout.
Just to feed your nightmares real quick. What do you guys think about Plesiop?
I mean, they already have the Piscine model in.
Yeah,
That's the water
They-
version of the
they-
Gyarados, right?
That's the guy with
they've
the
got
thick-
Gyarados. Like
It's the hard one or whatever, right?
Yeah, the one whose hip check box extends way past his model, and there's memes all over the internet about.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I would love to see any sort of new monsters as like only being playing world. Like even if they're old monsters, even if they're brand new monsters, like anything would really pique my interest.
feel like they'd be more likely to bring back old monsters because they have a new engine, which they can actually incorporate more intricate move sets with. So
Then
they could
again,
actually give, let's say, these older monsters that could have or looked like they should have or could have had interesting gimmicks and actually give them to them.
they kind of did that already with Radoban, because Radoban is apparently the original concept for Uragan.
Hmm.
Like, it was supposed to be bone, but because of hardware limitations, they went with ore because it was just easier to code and implement.
I'll get another
And
forward posted if anybody's interested.
I kind of lost my train of thought there. And I'm back. Okay. No, something I would not be surprised to see, it would kind of be a double up, but imagine a Legiana adapted to not the updrafts and everything of the Coral Highlands, but instead living in a frigid wasteland. So instead of being hypermobile, it's a slight bit sluggisher, but has stronger ice attacks.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Because it already has kind of this icy theme and knows how to use ice. So taking that to an extreme
Would be interesting, I
would
agree.
make sense. At the same time, it could just be the complete opposite, like having a monster that's learned to use fire to live in the ice.
That would be cool.
That might be Odo, like the Odo variant, because we know he has latent fire potential.
Right. That would be really cool.
That just came to me right now, and I was like,
So like kind of like Typhlosion, just like he's got a coat of flames basically to keep him alive in this frigid environment.
More like Odo himself, where he has that like inner fire just because.
Oh, like when he eats a snack or whatever, and he like starts steaming and glowing red. But
just have that as a more passive thing, but that would also mean that if it's the same thing as Odo, that he's even more aggressive than Odo.
Right, because there would be even more competition for food.
Not only that, because if Odo actually goes back into his exhausted state after he goes out of his Super Saiyan mode, because he basically burns through everything he just ate. So if you have a slightly weaker version of that, constantly heating you up, you'll just need more food. So he might be even more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, Blangonga would make sense, and they could add Congalala to the current maps.
Yeah, but that brings up the question again, how did it get there? Because if they're going for this like hyper-realism, everything makes sense, it's a cohesive environment, you have to have a way for these monsters to get there.
The only immediate way I can think of, they'd have to start this new expansion off with how this biome became how it is, or at least immediately introduce or show us that there's an elder dragon here.
The thing is, we don't know the whole new world.
Yeah, we like they're like there's islands out there. Let's go there.
There's more stuff around, and we don't even know if we know everything that's in the ancient forest. The ancient forest that we have, like the actual map, is only a small part of the actual ancient forest. So there might be more monsters that we have never seen yet, just in there. And what previous expansions on Monster Hunter always did, they did add some stuff to high rank. Introduce the stuff in high rank, like what was it in For You? In For You, it was not Seragios, or was it? No, Seragios was in 4. No, he was not.
Yeah, Sergius was 4 Ultimate.
Yeah, for Ultimate. Was he in 4, the base game?
I don't remember. I think he was.
Let me check. I have at least here. Let's see.
I just want to break your face, Kushala.
Oh
Nope.
no, there's a pickle here.
Nope, he was not.
Hmm.
Steve was not in the base game of 4, and he played a big part in the high rank of 4 Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'd
they
be all
did that
for
before.
seeing Steve return.
Yes, please bring back Steve.
Yeah.
Then just a bit of dreaming. I'd love to see the spiders return. I love Nursilla.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'd really love is Gog and Delmadur with a world paint.
Oh,
Like,
that would be really nice. See,
Those
I don't
people-
think we're gonna get one of those continent-shattering style monsters, though.
no. I don't think so. It's just
That's why he
wishful
said
thinking.
dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I mean, Seregius would make a lot of sense because he is. I mean, no, actually, it would not. The only reason we got him in for you was because of Apex, and that Apex Seregius displacing the local Seregius population because they are fiercely territorial, so they don't like to move too far away from the territories.
Yeah.
So who knows? But then again, in the happenings of For You, some might have crossed the sea. Because we know it's set after For You.
Right. It's set after this one, which is supposed to which time-wise takes place even further.
Yeah. Is what I meant. Because we have the Ace Cadet who talks about his experience with Gore and stuff.
Right.
And everyone who denies he's the Ace Cadet is just ignorant.
I refuse to believe he's Ace Cadet.
I mean, he still makes very, very bad puns.
So Radamon was what they wanted Urgan to be originally.
Apparently, like, he was the concept. I don't know how far they got into it.
I'm assuming they stopped because of what their current gen was and what they had
Yeah,
to work with.
yeah.
So I'm assuming they'd use Radamon as kind of like the confidence to go back to these original ideas of what they wanted their monsters to be.
There might be a few of those here. Like,
Which would still technically make them new monsters because they hadn't ever been seen in a previous game.
Yeah.
But ideas based on that turned into the current monsters that a lot of people know and love, which would be really nice.
like,
So I'd assume we'd see at least a few of the monsters they previously released in their older games just brought back.
Right.
Just to
That's
test to see how their concepts hold up.
So I'd say
Yeah,
we
like-
wouldn't necessarily see something like a Tigrex, but maybe something more like Tigrex concept that they had that never got just into the game due to limitations.
the thing with Tigrex in particular is I know a bit about the development of Tigrex, and they're actually pretty happy with how he turned out. And everything they wanted to add to that, they already tried around with Brute Tigrex and then later
Molten.
So Tigrex is pretty much a finished product. He is what he's supposed to be, and they're fairly happy with it. I'm excited to see if we get some actual getting hunted by a Naga gameplay. Because he's supposed to be an ambush hunter.
right.
And it would be great to just see Nargas, like, having to actually spot him or having to lure him out by letting him attack you, being the fastest way of engaging him. Because you know he's there, and you just want to get him out, so you set yourself up as easy bait or something
Mm-hmm.
to lure him out
I'm dead.
instead of...
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Ouch. The double stun charge attack feels bad, man. Lined us up and knocked us down like bowling pins.
It hurt.
It did.
My feelings, my soul, my honor.
My armor.
Mostly my armor, yeah.
What?
Alright, so what else could we possibly have here as far as monsters or maybe subspecies go?
Okay, back to the subspecies. 'Cause
So
I love
subspecies of current so
That
subspecies of
doesn't suck.
subspecies of current monsters that could be on the new island.
that. Yeah.
I always like the theory of the Rashikiri coming back. The ice one.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be in world, I believe, but they didn't.
From
They
that,
hadn't put it in yet, basically.
Hmm.
it seems to have been on some kind of plan, but then again, that's relying on a leaked list that's no longer accurate. So it might just be complete bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
This
This was pretty accurate for the most part.
It was pretty accurate until they released Kulv Tarot 3 months down,
Mm-hmm.
because Kulv was not on the list. So, yeah. It was fairly accurate, and it predicted a few things that later came.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't think that leaked list is what should get us to thinking, yeah, we will be getting Orochi Kirin. If anything, it's we have an ice biome and we have the Kirin,
Skeleton. Yeah.
Kirin skeleton.
Which is why I was thinking there would be a deer monster, because they've already got the
Yeah.
Kelby skeleton in the game, and that's basically the same skeleton as the Kirin, so they already have
Yeah.
that asset to work
Yeah.
with.
I mean, Kirin is the Kelby drone.
Uh-huh.
Imagine hardcore like Kelby.
I mean, that's
Kelby.
it. Might we might.
That's basically what we were saying, like a big moose style thing,
Yeah.
or
I'd be excited if a moose came around.
yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm still hoping we'll see an adult Zeno, just in full control of its power.
See, but the only
Just-
reason I don't think there's ever going to be an adult Zeno is because he's new, like brand new. He was created
Yeah,
by the combination of all the different elder dragons and all the energy being disposed of in the new world. So he was
No. What happened was, he attracted elder dragons, more elder dragons to die there. But it must have started somewhere. And if you look at the mythos of the Sapphire Star, the Sapphire Star itself might very well
Sleep.
be just an adult Xeno. And maybe they just
Awkward.
have a ridiculously long incubation period until they resurface. Like, for example, Shagaru Magala turns up once every millennia or something. Like, there are elder dragons that only appear every couple of hundred, every 1,000 years or something.
Mhm.
So we might have just ticked off Mama or Papa Zeno by killing the baby.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and probably pretty scary.
It would, but in that case, wouldn't it be coming to the new world where we're currently at, rather than going to a completely different island that we had to go to and find?
I'm just saying it might appear in the whole scope of this expansion. Like that new island, I don't think we have to find it. We'll just go there because it's the next stop. We're the research commission. It was originally conceived to just explore the new world and the Elder Crossing.
Mhm.
But after that's been explored, there's still a lot to find out about the new world, just as a treasure trove of having a new continent with new ecosystems and stuff, whatever. It's just like, god damn it, we want to know more about that.
Yep.
There might just be something like Astera actually being turned into something more permanent,
Mm-hmm.
or they adding on to Astera further inland,
Mm-hmm.
something more permanent? Because if you look at some of the guild stuff in older games, like the guild hall in 4U is basically a giant mountain temple, kind of in the style of like it's an open air temple with
Mm-hmm.
with no real walls or stuff. Uh, but we know that there are enough craftsmen and stuff in the Monster Hunter universe to make stuff that rivals old Greece and everything
Mm-hmm.
in terms of that stuff. So seeing some of that brought back, or even just hinted at, would be kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, seeing, just imagine future installments of Monster Hunter if they all take place in the new world. It'd be basically the slow colonization of the new world.
That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Then I think with Basil being such a huge.
Oh, he's definitely gonna be on. He's definitely gonna visit this new island with us.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, yeah, it's not a question whether Basil will be there, but
It's just
will Basil get a
when.
subspecies?
See,
Oh.
all
Or-
I'll say about old monsters is there doesn't need to be a good reason for them to be there because Devil Joe somehow got here.
Mm. Like, we don't know when the monsters that live here got here and how, but they're here. And
Yeah, I
some of
mean,
them
it
don't
could
make
be.
sense.
It could be like a Pangea sort of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it was just all one big continent and it broke up, kind of similar to Earth.
Yeah.
Well, the NCH production explains exactly how Devil Joe got here.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
I mean, we might as well just talk about that because let's be honest, both producer and director of Monster Hunter confirmed in unison without looking at each other that on a scale from 1 to 10, Monster Hunter is a 10 in silliness. So all the cheesiness, all the we're researching, go kill it. They're very well aware that this is not a terribly serious game.
Yeah.
And even all the voice acting and the story and everything, it's deliberately cheesy.
Well, I mean, the whole pickle in a pickle thing, you know?
I mean, that was probably just the localization team having fun,
Yeah.
to be honest, because I actually follow two guys on the localization team on Twitter.
Mhm.
The one guy's bio on Twitter is just a localization member at Capcom
Mhm.
sent cat puns.
Mm.
So, yeah.
All right. I think that's a good place to wind her down, though. I'm at like an hour and a half on the recording. So I want to thank you all for helping me out, bouncing ideas off of each other and all that. It was a great thing. Appreciate your help. But,
No problem.
Always
Thank you
enjoyable.
for having us.
not a problem. Thank you for helping out again. We'll see you guys later.